I stare at the man in the mirror, and for a second I don't recognize him anymore. And he looks back at me like he's begging me to make it through one more night. I almost gave up, but I'm still here. I almost let the darkness win last year. Some nights I break, some nights I cry, but somehow I'm still alive. The sink is covered with cold water drops, red eyes, no sleep, same old thoughts. I tell everybody I'm doing okay, then spend half the night trying to believe in myself. Nobody sees the battles that happen after midnight, when the room gets quiet and every mistake you've ever made starts speaking at the same time. I used to think strength meant never falling apart. Now I know strength is getting up after you do. There were nights I didn't want tomorrow, not because I wanted to die. I was just tired of hurting. I almost gave up, but I'm still here, still breathing, still trying, still fighting through the fear. I don't have all the answers, I don't have it figured out, but if you're listening, neither of us gave up. No. I found an old journal from 2 years ago. Every page was somebody drowning, every line was somebody convinced things would never change. I read it back and suddenly realized that person would have never believed I'd make it this far. The crazy thing is, my life isn't perfect now, not even close, but I'm laughing more, sleeping more, dreaming again, and that's enough to keep going. Yeah. Nobody posts the nights they sit in the dark, holding themselves together. Nobody posts the panic attacks, the breakdowns, the mornings they spend trying to find a reason to get out of bed. But that's where the real courage lives, not in the victories and the survival, in showing up when everything inside you wants to disappear. If you're hearing this at 3 a.m., I need you to stay. One more hour, one more night, one more sunrise, because the version of you that's waiting on the other side needs you to survive this one. Trust me, I've met him. I almost gave up, but I'm still here, and maybe that's the miracle. Not that life got easier, not that pain disappeared, but somehow my heart kept beating through all of it. I almost gave up, but I'm still here, still broken, still healing, still becoming, and for the first time in a very long time, I'm proud of that. The mirror hasn't changed, the scars haven't changed, the world hasn't changed, but I have. I survived the things I thought would destroy me, and tomorrow I'm gonna try again. I'm still here. I'm still here. gave you all my colors till my world turned gray. Every little part of me slowly faded away. You became my religion, my reason to survive. And somewhere in the process I forgot my own life. Maybe I loved you too much, more than I ever loved myself. Built my whole world around your heartbeat till nothing else was left. And now I don't know who I am without your shadow near. I lost myself trying to keep someone who disappeared. Someone who disappeared. The city lights feel colder when your identity is gone. When mirrors stop reflecting someone you recognize it all. I became what you needed, soft enough not to fight, quiet enough not to leave, broken enough to stay. Love shouldn't cost your identity. Love shouldn't erase your soul. But sometimes lonely hearts trade themselves just to feel whole. Now I'm rebuilding slowly, piece by peace at night, learning how to exist without needing someone else's light. And maybe being alone is better than disappearing completely. I'm still here somewhere underneath the damage. My screen time says 11 hours. Mine says 12. Funny how we're both online and still need someone else. I reply to every message, liked every picture I could find. Everybody thinks I'm living, but I'm barely getting by. I know who's moving cities, who's in love and who's moved on, yet somehow every night still feels so long. I post another smiling picture. People tell me I look great. Nobody sees me staring at the ceiling, wide awake. I know everybody's stories, I know everybody's plans, but nobody knows how heavy my heart is. Everybody sees my profile, nobody sees my pain. Maybe that's the saddest thing about living this way. Online but empty, scrolling through the dark. 1,000 conversations, still can't reach my heart. My phone keeps lighting up, my room stays quiet. Everybody sees we're online, nobody sees we're tired. Looking for connection, looking for a sign. Funny how we're everywhere and nowhere at the same time. I got 200 notifications, not one that really matters. Sometimes attention feels like broken glass that shatters.
I got people in my DMs, people saying they care, but when my world falls apart, nobody's really there.
I thought more people would mean less loneliness.
I thought being noticed would make me feel less stressed.
Turns out being seen isn't the same as being known. The world gets louder,
I feel smaller
every single day. Online but empty, scrolling through the dark. 1,000 conversations still can't reach my heart. My phone keeps lighting up, my room stays quiet. Everybody sees we're online,
nobody sees we're tired.
looking for connection,
Looking for a sign.
funny how we're everywhere and nowhere at the same time. Maybe we're all waiting for somebody to ask twice.
Maybe we're all hiding
behind filters and replies.
I don't need more followers,
I don't need more likes.
I just need somebody
Who notices tonight? My screen time says 11 hours.
Mine says 12.
Funny how we're both
Online
and still need someone else. Online but empty, but maybe not forever. Maybe healing starts
when we're honest together.
Oh, my phone keeps lighting up,
But now I finally know
being seen by everybody
isn't the same.
as being known,
Not the same, not the same.
as being known. My screen time says 11 hours.
Mine says 12.
Funny how we're both online and still feel alone. Three 3:18 a.m. I'm standing in front of the mirror. Same tired eyes, same heavy heart, but somehow I'm still here. I'm broken but trying, and maybe that's enough tonight. I didn't win today, I didn't heal today, but I survived. And sometimes surviving is its own kind of victory. The bathroom light is too bright, my eyes are bloodshot. I splash cold water on my face like it might wash away everything I'm carrying. It doesn't. The bills are still there, the memories are still there, the anxiety is still there, the loneliness is still there. But so am I, that's got to count for something, right? Everybody sees the smile, nobody sees the conversations I have with myself at 3 in the morning, just trying to make it through. Some nights getting out of bed feels harder than chasing any dream, and nobody claps for that, but maybe they should. I'm broken but trying, still standing somehow, still breathing somehow, still here somehow. I got scars where my hope used to be, but my heart still refuses to quit on me. I'm broken but trying, again tonight. That's enough. Yeah, I used to think healing and waking up one day and feeling nothing. Now I know healing is waking up and choosing to keep going, even when you still feel everything. I found an old picture today, didn't cry, didn't smile, just looked at it and kept moving. That sounds small, but 6 months ago it would've destroyed me. Maybe progress is quieter than we think. Yeah. Nobody posts the nights they almost gave up. Nobody posts the panic attacks, the empty apartments, the silent drives, the mornings they spend trying to convince themselves to keep going. But that's real life, not the highlights, not the filters, not the captions, just ordinary people fighting battles nobody can see. If you're listening to this at 3 a.m., I need you to hear me. You don't have to be healed, you don't have to be strong, you don't have to have everything figured out. Just stay, just make it to tomorrow. That's enough. I'm broken but tried, then maybe that's brave. Maybe surviving is something worth celebrating. I'm still learning, still hurting, still healing, still climbing, still alive for tonight. That's enough. The mirror hasn't changed, the problems haven't changed, the world hasn't changed, but one thing did. I made it through another day. 3:47 a.m. I turn off the light, and for the first time tonight I believe tomorrow might be okay. I'm broken, but I'm trying. Dad, I bought the house, the one we used to point at on the drive home. I just wish you were here to see it. You worked 2 jobs most of my childhood, hands full of calluses, heart full of dreams. You'd come home tired, still ask about my day, like somehow my problems were bigger than your pain. You always said one day you'll have a better life. I nodded and smiled, never realizing you were giving yours to build mine. Back then I thought success meant money, now I think success was having you. If Dad could see me now, he'd probably laugh and say you worried way too much, kid. The same thing he'd always say. I got the job, I got the keys, I finally made it out. But the only person I wanted to tell isn't around. If Dad could see me now. If Dad could see me now. Mom says I'd remind you more every year. Same stubborn heart, same disappearing into work. Sometimes I catch myself using your phrases, and for a second it feels like you're still here. I got promoted last winter, everybody celebrated. The room was full of people, but somehow it felt empty. 'Cause every good thing still makes me reach for a phone that will never ring your number again. Funny how growing up means learning. Some dreams arrive too late. If Dad could college kid, the same thing he'd always say. I got the job, I got the keys, I finally made it out. Ooh, but the only person I wanted to tell isn't around. If Dad could see me now, the hardest part isn't that you're gone. The hardest part is this: every milestone, every birthday, every win comes with a little sadness, because I keep imagining your reaction to things you'll never see. And that's a kind of heartbreak nobody talks about. I don't need another trophy, I don't need another raise. I trade all of it for one more Saturday. Sitting beside you, talking about nothing. If Dad could see me now, I'd tell him everything worked out, just not the way I planned. I learned the lessons you spent your whole life teaching. I finally understand why you worked so hard, why you stayed so strong, why love looks a lot like sacrifice. If Dad could see me now, I hope he'd be proud, because everything I am still has your fingerprints all over it. Dad, I bought the house, the one we used to point at on the drive home. I just wish you were here to walk through the front door. The neon sign still works. We don't There's a little diner downtown, still open after midnight. Same old flickering neon, same red and blue lights. We used to sit by the window, talk about who we'd become, back when forever sounded easy, back when we were young. Last week I drove by there for the first time in years, and somehow that broken sign hit harder than you leaving did. 'Cause some things stay exactly the same, and that's what hurts. Broken neon lights still shining through the dark, still holding on to stories long after people fall apart. The sign remembers us, even if you don't. Funny how a broken light can feel more alive than love. Broken neon lights still glowing in the rain, and every time I pass that street, I feel you again. I heard you're doing better, at least that's what people say. I hope the world is kinder than it was back in those days. I don't miss every memory, I don't miss every fight. I just miss believing you'd be standing by my side. It's strange what time does to promises and plans, how something that felt permanent can disappear without a sound. Nobody tells you some goodbyes happen slowly. Broken neon lights still shining through the dark, still holding on to stories
'cause I don't stop there anymore. I don't sit in the parking lot thinking you'll walk through the door. But every once in a while a song comes on or a memory slips through, and for a second I'm 22 again, still believing in me and you. The hardest part isn't losing you. The hardest part is missing the person I was before I learned nothing lasts forever. Broken neon lights still burning after all these years. Maybe that's the difference between electricity and tears. One keeps shining even when it's cracked, the other keeps falling and never comes back. Broken neon lights still lighting up that town, and every time I see that I put my windows down, just for a moment to remember who we were before the world got louder and love got harder. The neon sign still works. We don't. Maybe that's why I still look up every time I drive by. The last time I saw you felt completely normal. That's what breaks me now. You said, see you next week. I said, yeah, of course. You grabbed your jacket, walked out the door. No tears, no goodbye, no reason to stop. Just another ordinary night or so. I thought nobody tells you the last time never feels like the last time. The last time felt normal. That's why it hurts so bad. If I knew what I know now, I would've made it last. One more minute, one more laugh, one more picture we could have. The last time felt normal, and now I want it back. I replay that moment more than I should, looking for a warning sign, anything I miss. But memories stay silent, they never explain why some people become stories we tell ourselves again. We always think there'll be one more chance. The last time felt normal. That's why it hurts so bad. If I knew what I know now, I would've made it last. One more minute, one more laugh, one more picture we could have. The last time felt normal, and now I want it back. Oh, now I want it back. Ooh. The hardest part isn't that you're gone. The hardest part is knowing I was there and didn't know. I should've stayed longer. I should've held on. I should've paid attention to the moment before it was gone. The last time felt normal. Nobody said goodbye. Nobody knew forever was ending that night. One more minute, one more laugh, one more chance to take it back. The last time felt normal. That's why it hurts like and that's what breaks me now. You said, see you next week. I said, yeah, of course. Neither of us knew there wouldn't be one. You're crying over somebody who isn't even here, and somehow that hurts me more than if you were crying over me. Just let me love you in the dark. You don't have to fix yourself before I stay. You don't have to stop hurting before I care. Just let me sit beside you while the world falls apart. 3 on the windshield, your makeup's running. You keep staring out the window like the city might have answers. Your phone lights up, not his name. I see the disappointment before you hide it. You say I'm sorry like your sadness is something you owe me an apology for. And honestly, that's the part that breaks me. You keep saying you're too damaged, too complicated, too hard to love, but I've never looked at you and thought any of those things. Just let me love you in the dark. You don't have to be okay tonight. You don't have to pretend you're strong. If your heart is still broken, let it break. I'll stay anyway. Just let me love you in the dark. I know his name, even though I pretend I don't. I know he still lives inside your head, inside your playlist, inside every silence you never explain. And maybe that's what hurts, knowing I'll never compete with the memory, because memories never make mistakes. They only get prettier every year, yeah. The hardest part isn't loving someone. The hardest part is loving someone who still belongs to yesterday. It's sitting beside them while they miss somebody else, holding their hand while wishing they'd reach for yours. It's hearing them say, I wish he loved me like that, and realizing you already do. If I could take away your pain, I would. If I could erase his name, I would. But love doesn't work like that, so instead I'll stay, even if I'm not the one you look for. Just let me love you in the dark. Not because I'm trying to save you, not because I'm trying to replace him, but because nobody should have to cry alone at 3 a.m. And if your heart needs somewhere safe to land, mine is open, even if you never choose it. The rain slows down, the city goes quiet. You finally stop crying for 1 second. You lean your head against my shoulder. You probably don't even realize it, but it's enough. I'll love you until you don't need me to, even if you never love me back. A 1,000 followers and nobody to call tonight. My phone lights up every minute, messages, likes and names.
people saying that they love my content, but nobody asks if I'm okay. I post a smile on a Friday, everybody thinks I'm fine. Funny how the brightest little pictures usually hide the darkest nights. I know people in every city, I know faces everywhere, but when the room gets quiet, there's nobody really there. Everybody knows my username, nobody knows my pain. 1,000 followers, nobody to call. 100 conversations, no one who knows it all. They see the best of me, the version on their screen, but nobody sees the nights in between. 1,000 followers and still I feel alone. Funny how the whole world watches while I'm sitting on my own. I hit 100,000 views, they said I should celebrate, so I ordered dinner for one and watched the evening getting late. I wanted to tell somebody about everything I'd done, then realized I spent the whole day without talking to anyone. People know my favorite music, my coffee and my clothes, but nobody knows the quiet little battles I never dare to post. Everybody sees the highlight reel, nobody sees behind the scenes. 1,000 followers, nobody to call. 100 conversations, no one who knows it all. They see the best of me, the version on their screen, but nobody sees the nights in between. 1,000 followers and still I feel alone. Funny how the whole world watches while I'm sitting on my own. I don't need another follower, I don't need another like. I trade 1,000 burning notifications for one real call tonight. 'Cause being seen isn't the same as being known, and being famous to strangers can still feel alone. 1,000 followers, nobody to call. The loudest kind of loneliness is having it all. They know my face, they know my name, but not the things I just can't explain. 1,000 followers, and finally I understand. Sometimes what they're missing won't fit inside the screen. Sometimes what we're missing is simply someone who understands. 1,000 followers, one empty room, one bright screen, and a silent phone. I smile in every picture, so nobody knows I'm drowning. Another Friday night, another story on my phone. Everybody thinks I'm living some perfect kind of life.
I know how to fake a laugh, I know how to play my part. I've become an expert at hiding a breaking heart. People tell me you look happy, and I always say I am. Funny how the biggest lies are the easiest to understand, 'cause nobody asks twice when you say you're alright. Nobody knows I'm drowning, 'cause I learned how to swim in pain. I keep my head above the water while I'm sinking every day. Everybody sees the surface, nobody sees below. I carry storms inside me that nobody knows, nobody knows. I'm drowning, not even the ones I love. I answer every message, I show up when I'm needed. I keep everybody else together while I'm coming apart. Some nights I sit in silence, staring at the ceiling fan, wondering how someone surrounded by people can still feel this alone. The worst part isn't sadness, the worst part is pretending that nothing's wrong for so long. You almost start believing it yourself, and maybe that's why it's getting harder to breathe. Nobody knows I'm drowning, 'cause I learned how to swim in pain. I keep my head above the water while I'm sinking every day. Everybody sees the surface, nobody sees below. I carry storms inside me that nobody knows, nobody knows. I'm drowning, not even the ones I love. The truth is, I don't need people to fix me. I don't need perfect words. I just wish somebody noticed before I had to say it hurts. 'Cause sometimes the strongest person in the room is the one closest to breaking, and nobody sees it coming until it's too late. I got really good at looking okay. Nobody knows I'm drowning, but tonight I'm letting go of pretending that I'm stronger than I really am below. Maybe healing starts the moment you stop carrying it alone. Maybe being honest is the bravest thing I've known. Nobody knows I'm drowning, but maybe now they will. I smile in every picture, but that's not the whole story, and maybe it never was.